So you've gotten the go-ahead to reset your clinic, and now you need to know, where do you start? The reset package as a whole can be overwhelming to digest and implement all at once. Our goal with this video and the how-to document is to create a reset roadmap to guide your team. We're going to outline the steps in order. We liken it to a journey up a mountain, a climb. Once you and your team understands the map to the top and pack your bags with the right tool set, you can start the journey. We'll approach this with an overview first, and then go over each step again in more detail. Once you finish this lesson, we suggest spending some extra time reviewing the first few steps until you are sure that everyone is comfortable and familiar with them. The first thing you'll do is learn and socialize the concept among the key players. GPM, Flight Commander, Med Director, Appointment Line staff, Front Desk staff, you are all on a team together. You'll then confirm your choice of a team of 2 partnered provider teams within the same MEPRS code to serve as champions. You need pioneers who will become expert guides for others. Your pilot team is going to ramp up to full implementation first, and everyone on those teams should be marching in the same direction. It takes the whole team to climb this mountain. Train those champions on the tools of reset. Each of the tools has a separate video tutorial, its own chapter in the ConOps, and are addressed in the FAQs. Envision your team using future appointment slots to take care of as many different patients' needs as possible. This will almost become a fun challenge to see how many times a certain appointment slot can be rebooked. Definitely watch the scrubbing videos. Review the ConOps and the how-to document on how to use the Alta Comments tab as a continuous virtual huddle with scrub codes. As soon as the champions are ready to ramp up and start climbing, turn off crossbooking for the champion team's MEPRS code at a minimum, although you could consider clinic-wide. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's go back to the beginning and set the stage. Your commander just said yes. You've got the green light to go ahead and start reset. You've already socialized reset, the ConOps, and the FAQs to your personnel, and now you're leaving the meeting with the commander's promise of support in hand. Let's call this Day 0. Ideally, you'll already have picked your champions. Ideally, they'll have attended that pitch meeting with you, and they're the ones who briefed their plans to begin scrubbing, own their patient population, catch the demand tail, and be the pioneers that eventually drive the reset of your entire MTF. Ideally, you walked out of the meeting alongside them, excited to get started. If you haven't found your champions at this point, start working on that immediately after the meeting. You probably also already socialized reset and its components to your staff, but now that you're armed with the commander's promise, really start socializing the concept. Include everyone: appointment line, front desk staff, your topo flight, your MEPRS team, your HCI, DM, UM, your coding staff, all of the squadron commanders, and 3 letters. Talk to whoever is your public affairs rep for your facility, and begin building a plan to socialize the new appointment option to your base population. Begin preparing a communication plan to the wing. And don't forget about the people in front of your nose. Your people need to be the experts about this, so keep them in the loop, keep them excited, and keep socializing the wins. Keep working with your champion providers. They should have been working with their teams to establish competency with scrubbing, scrub codes, and they should have begun calling patients, scrubbing appointments, and opening those future appointments back up. They've got lots of resources, and others can learn alongside the champions. They'll train on reset using videos like Intro to Scrubbing, the Scrubbing How-To, and the same with virtuals, the Intro and How-To. This is important. As soon as your champion team has demonstrated competency with scrubbing appointments off the schedule, turn off crossbooking to that MEPRS code. Don't worry, the metrics will improve. GPMs, this one's for you. Your champions will have really begun scrubbing in earnest by now. This thing moves fast. You need to keep up, and you need to plan ahead. Learn the ramp-up scorecard. Do a dry run scorecard on Thursday, then pull it again on Friday that first week, and be prepared to sit with the flight commander, med director, and everyone on the champion team. Invite others too if you'd like. You'll need to be able to pull the percent unbooked report, and you'll want to know how to talk about the tail of demand. How many appointments are booked on the champion's schedule? If you check back in a week, this number will have gone down. That's a win. Socialize it. High five about it. Be a cheerleader. Take a look at potential ramp down templates, eventually ending up at what the goal template will be. which is 10 per day. Check on staff satisfaction using a survey, or if you don't have one built or usable, at the very least, do rounds. Involve leadership at all levels. GPMs generate the first set of ramp-up scorecards, as this will serve as a baseline to compare next week. Start looking at the monthly scorecard and start practicing the data pulls you'll need for it. Remember, you are on the team, so be active and be a helpful part of the team. Socialize how people are doing and communicate to all levels about progress that's being made. The climb is broken up into camps so that everybody has a clear understanding of where they are in the process. This prevents discouragement as teams progress through the toughest stage before they reach the top. This moves fast, but because your pace won't be exactly the same as everyone else's, let's start thinking about how far along you've come in terms of camps, rather than strict days. So you'll start the climb. This might be between days 0 and 10. Your champions should master the scrub codes and ensure there is a code next to each and every future appointment going out for as long as you're booked. You'll be creating team-generated virtuals, and you'll train all team members to do so. Teams should understand clearly that any virtual appointment is a distinct step up the mountain, and that's a great thing. And at first, virtuals will seem easy to spot. Very easy. You probably already know exact appointments on your schedule if you're a provider and you're listening to this. They'll say something like med follow-up or lab follow-up or referral request or service animal paperwork request. You'll find that after a week of hard scrubbing, you've done a ton of virtuals. Use this time to get comfortable with your team on the scrub codes and also blow through some of that demand. You may still find a lot of easy virtuals for several weeks after you started Reset. So stay positive, because there might be a point or two when you wonder if you'll ever find the bottom of the pile of demand. Your techs will be working a ton on tech tasks in the comment field. Lots of positivity and encouragement will go a long way on this part of the mountain, especially from flight leadership and the GPMs. This is a very tough part of the climb. The slope is steep, and some may be questioning why the heck they even got on this mountain. You can't see the top, it's a little foggy, your team is tired. This is extra work, but understand that it's your extra work, and there's a purpose, and there's definitely a summit up there. You'll get to it. Camp 1. This may fall somewhere in between, say, days 3 and 14. You're working harder and working longer, and the appointments are just rebooking, no matter what you do. The appointments are rebooking with normal complaints, similar complaints, basically the same kind of medical needs as you're used to seeing. This is a sign that you're catching up to the tail of your demand, but you don't feel like it. During this time, take a step back occasionally and look at your team's progress and evaluate your techniques. By now, you should have a handle on how a phone call tends to take place, and you should be developing a comfort level with what can be handled virtually. This will take time to develop within your team, but it enhances your efficiency so much when used correctly. Camp 2. Let's put this somewhere in between days 10 and 20. You're working harder and longer still, and your appointments are still rebooking. But now they're booking with frivolous, zero acuity complaints, and it seems like lots of them are now filling up with fluff. Your true demand is decreasing, even if your appointments still are rebooking. Frustrating, but this is progress. Stay motivated. Take another step back and evaluate your processes. Review the ConOps again and the FAQs. Ask yourself if you were meeting the intent of Reset and following the processes. Is the team scrubbing appropriately? Are we all communicating our strengths and weaknesses? Are you sharing the success stories and patient praises? Camp 3. This might fall between days 21 and 30. Your future appointments stop booking solid, but your same-day appointments are rebooking, still with some of those fluff appointments. You're getting there. Watch the Priority Access Clinic tutorial and review this chapter again in the ConOps. Camp 4 may fall between days 20 and 40, depending on the size of the demand pile on day 0. Same-day appointments now stay open. You end up with unbooked appointments, and your percent open future for the next week trends towards 75%. You're ready to decrease templated appointments by at least 25% and simultaneously allow unlimited appointment line generated virtual encounters. GPMs will look at trend of prospective versus retrospective measurements and drop appointments at a percentage that should be equal or similar to retrospective unbooked rate. Oh, and by the way, GPMs, help your folks out. Between camps 2 and 4, I bet you could delete an appointment or two here or there. Acknowledge the hard work your team is doing, and with the flight commander's consent, when you get into work and there are enough unbooked appointments for that day, delete 1 or 2. But don't just delete it quietly. Tell the team. At first, they won't know how to react. It will feel so different to them, so unbelievable. And in that moment, your providers will know that you get it. Start your priority access clinic now, controlled by provider teams scrubbing patients in from virtuals as necessary. Providers will work with GPMs to confirm a temporary template that accommodates a 25% reduction in templated appointments. For example, 12 appointments a day, 5 days a week. This is also a good time to ask your team how you can start to improve your population's whole health. Consider nurse-run clinics, like a cold and allergy or a hypertension clinic. Consider nurse-driven preventative medicine drives, pap smear days, diabetes screening weeks. You get the idea. The peak, days 21 through forever. Your same-day appointments stay open. Your next week's percent open is 75% or greater for future appointments. Your patients aren't leaking to other providers when you're in clinic. And the view. You're ready for full go reset with as few as 10 appointments per day, a 4-day work week, and gold days. 1 afternoon a week is all that should be needed for your priority access clinic. With this last decrement made, take another step back and evaluate your process, and review the CONOPS and FAQs and any other documents that are reasonable. Ask, are future appointments being scrubbed appropriately and the comments tab used efficiently? Are virtuals being booked and utilized correctly? Are you using your priority access time, and is the reception desk competent with this? Is your team on the same page and moving in the same direction? Are you finishing each other's sentences? Is your nursing staff out from under all those TCONs? Are CSSPs utilized efficiently? If these questions are answered as yes, then your team should be truly ready for this last step, and there should be little left to do except forecast and schedule in the gold days. Continue to stay efficient, monitor your template management and scorecard, provide great patient care. The command staff should continue to set the priorities, empower the teams, and reward efficiency. Congrats! You are reset. Enjoy what you've accomplished and constantly remind each other where you've come from. Choose to find gratitude in your practice each day, and don't let each other norm to the reset template and gold days. Enjoy the view. Help others climb the mountain. Whenever you're ready. I just started.
Super. Oh, is that good? The blinding light over here.
You gotta hold up one of those reflector things.
I know, we're not that
Who
cool.
has reflector policy? That's a policy.
We're not that cool.
Should I go?
Get the big paramedic.
What?
He's watching you give this report.
Should I go?
You should go.
Hey everyone. So Andrew, thanks you.
Oh, good. We have outtakes.
He does though. He's very. So first and foremost, I want to thank you so much for spending the time with us over the past few weeks and even months now. It has been such an honor and such a pleasure for us, just to go back and forth with you, hear your questions, your concerns, and certainly most of all your excitement for what you've been doing and for Reset, for what it would be able to bring. It's a humbling experience. We've looked a lot at statistics. There's a lot of talk about the data that goes into this, but really it's the human element that's important, and that's the most exciting aspect of this. And the thing that excites us the most is just hearing the excitement, seeing the excitement when we're on phone calls or seen on the Facebook page. It's great, and it's been awesome, and it has been an absolute pleasure and an honor for us.